Hey everybody, welcome back to FSi DFS. Looking at the 5-game early slate for Wednesday, and if you're playing this, just go light. This is really bad, really bad. 5 games. I expect one of them to get postponed, probably this Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game. 3 of the 10 pitchers are still to be determined. I'm recording this a little bit 5 hours before lock, and we still don't have 30% of the starting pitchers. One of the other pitchers who is priced higher up, he's on a pitch count, so we kind of take him out of the equation as well. It's just all around so bad. So if you're playing this, go light. But let's break this down. Anyways, starting up at the top, Eovaldi, he is our most expensive pitcher, and he's going to really be your only pitcher up in this top tier. Turnbull, you see he is priced at 9K as well. But Turnbull, he's been more of like a reliever bullpen role as of late. Earlier on in the season, he was a starter, and he did very, very well. Like, there was a lot of talk about him because he was doing so well, but still, got put down towards more of a reliever role, but his salary has kind of remained the same. So DK's priced him up at 9K. I don't expect him to be able to just jump right back up and get to 90, 95 pitches. If I had to guess, I think Turnbull maybe only gets like 70 to 80 pitches. And at 9K, is it worth it? On every other slate, no. I could understand playing him, even though he's only going to be getting so many pitches, just because pitching is so limited on the board here. But Eovaldi, regardless, is going to be your top salary guy. He's probably going to be very, very owned, high ownership, just because, there's really not much else. Going into the mid tier, we're going to go with Arrighetti as my favorite guy. I'm putting him above Brady Singer. Now, Arrighetti, he's really struggled his past couple of starts. He just hasn't been getting the strikeouts that he was earlier on in the season. With Arrighetti, you also have to worry about his control. Kind of all season long, he's been walking multiple guys every single start. So there's a really big command issue with him. Facing off against Colorado, though, they don't really walk much as a team. And they strike out a lot as a team as well. And Arrighetti, he does have that strikeout upside. We haven't seen it the past couple of starts, but still, he has more strikeout stuff than your typical 7.1K starting pitcher. So with him being so much cheaper than Brady Singer is 1,600 more. I'm going to go with Arrighetti. Am I thrilled about it? No, not really. But it is what it is. It is the slate. Brady Singer at 8.7. He's fine. He's got a great matchup against Miami. Miami struggles way more against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. But regardless, it looks like there's going to be some pretty decent winds blowing in at the stadium in Kansas City. So that's another little boost for Brady Singer there and a little bit of a knock towards the bats. But again, kind of like Arrighetti, am I excited about it? Like, yeah, it's a great matchup. But no, not really. Singer's been kind of disappointing for the past 2 months or so. And then Ashcraft, I really don't think that the Cincinnati Pittsburgh game is going to be going. I do think it's going to get postponed. I'm no meteorologist. Word of caution there, not a caution. I'm no meteorologist. I just look at the phone app. I look at other websites. If you go on to covers.com, very, very popular site. If you go to their MLB weather page, they have it listed as 85% chance of rain at first pitch. The phone app even says 70 to 80% chance of rain throughout the majority. So it's looking really ugly weather-wise for that. So I'm not going to really have any interest in the pitchers in the board. So Ashcraft and Ortiz. And then the cheap tier, I wanted to really drive home that I don't like anybody in this cheap tier. Feltner is really the only guy who is a possibility down this direction, but he's facing off against Houston, which, I really just don't have any interest with anybody facing off against Houston right now with how good that offense has been performing as of late. Now, Feltner, he has had some of his career ceiling games, but no, just no interest. The strikeout rates are there, especially as of late, but Houston, they just really don't strike out as a team at all. Getting outside of Coors, definitely a benefit towards him, but still, it's more of a fade. So as you can quickly see, we've gone through all the pitchers. Miami's Beloso, he is not even in the player pool. If you want a little bit about him in the minor leagues, ERA close to 6. His walk rate is through the roof. And yeah, whip I think was like 1.4 or 1.5. So just atrocious numbers in the minor leagues, and now he's getting bumped all the way up to the majors. Could be quite an issue facing off against Kansas City there. Milwaukee starting pitcher has not been released. It could be Colin Ray, could be Dallas Keuchel, who just got traded, but I don't know. No interest in either of them. And then Detroit starting pitcher is also to be determined. It's probably going to be a bullpen game for them, which their bullpen isn't awful. They have I would say a slightly above average bullpen, but it's nothing to write home about. But yeah, as you can quickly see, pitching very limited. I might even put Turnbull over here. Like I'll put some big gaps, but I do think he's probably limited to maybe like 70 to 80 pitches. I don't think they're really going to be extending him too much there. All right, let's head over towards the bats. Houston, KC. KC has a higher implied run total, but obviously you got to look at way more than that. Like this offense has just really been struggling. They're going to be facing off against Miami, that Beloso prospect. I think they're going to be able to get to him pretty quickly. And then you got the Miami bullpen, which is one of the worst bullpens in the entire majors. So I really want to like the Kansas City bats, but they have struggled so much. And it looks like there's going to be a pretty decent wind blowing in at the stadium. So a little bit of a knock towards the bats there as well. So with how much Kansas City has been struggling, like let's just look at their run totals the past couple games. 1, 4, 0, 0, 2, 3, 1, 5, 0. Like this offense has just completely disappeared. Now, it's going to come back. We've seen what this offense is capable. If anything, it's really driven down the salaries of a lot of these guys. Renfroe, like Furman, he's a cheap guy who could potentially be in at 3.2. Lofton's at 3K. Like, the game logs look horrendous. They're awful. But it's really driven down the salaries. But I don't think salary is going to be too much of an issue, or it should not be an issue really at all. If you wanted to go with Eovaldi and Turnbull as your two starting pitchers, yeah, it could be a little bit of an issue. But honestly, it really shouldn't. So Houston, they're going to be my number one, just with how much better they have been offensively. Alvarez, Altuve, Bregman, Diaz, like those top 4 guys, just jam them all in if you really want to. You can see that this offense has been doing much better, 5-8, 5-14, 5-4. So Kansas City's most impressive run output was, 3, 4 in the past 2 weeks? And these guys have been proving that they are doing much better as of late. So I'm going to go with Houston as my top stack. If I was going to be starting, I would just jam all these guys in. Alvarez, Altuve, Bregman, and Diaz. I would start with them. But if you're going to go with 3, Alvarez, Bregman, and Altuve would be the 3 that I would start. If you're looking for a cheap guy, Chas McCormick, he's been getting a little bit more of a run. I know Felter is a righty, but he's been getting a little bit more of a run against right-handed pitchers and getting some starts in the lineup. So he could certainly be in play if you do want to go in that route, just because they've had some injuries to some other guys. So Tucker, he's out. Dubon, he's just been really struggling. So that's kind of why Cody McCormick has been getting a little bit more starts to get right-handed batter. So he's not a cheap guy that you could go towards. After that, probably Philadelphia. Just, strong offense against who knows what's going to be starting for Detroit. Over into the GPP, Texas, Colorado, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, rain, just be aware of all of those guys. But Texas and Colorado, I like them pretty evenly. Colorado, we'll start off with Colorado. I mentioned Arrighetti, he's really been struggling as of late. Like the strikeout rates have not been there recently, but it's more so his walk rate is just out of control constantly. So I think that Colorado can certainly get there. Toglia and McMahon would be the 2 guys that I would be starting with. McMahon for sure would be my top Colorado play of the day. Toglia for sure as well. The issue with Toglia is that he just strikes out an insane amount. But Arrighetti, while the strikeout rates have been there, they have not been there in his past couple of starts. But oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was this bad. He's just got like multiple strikeouts, like game after game after game after game. But maybe with Arrighetti and his home run struggles, he won't get there. It won't be struggling as much. But McMahon, Tovar, Toglia, just all solid options for Colorado and the upside that they can bring. And then Texas, Langford, Josh Smith, these two guys have been smacking the cover off the ball as of late, both sub 4K. I love them there. Cody Seager, Garcia, Semien, I put them more as GPP because they're super expensive bats. Just have not been performing as of late. All three of these guys have really been struggling at the plate. DK's got Dallas Keuchel. I've seen other websites that have Colin Ray and news articles sporting, because Colin Ray I think was the original guy. I ended up on Deadspin when I typed in who's going to be so this is who's going to be starting. So it could be Dallas Keuchel, June 26th, but Ray was originally listed. Now it's to be determined. Who knows what's going on? If it's Keuchel, more interest in Texas. If it's Ray, a little bit less, but still a lot of interest in Texas because Ray just allows a lot of hard contact as well. But regardless, I think that Texas is going to be one of my favorite, upside stacks. So it's really ugly. It's nothing to get super excited about. Play this late, and yeah, I will be researching and making another video for the night slate. I think that's 6 games coming out. So that video will be out here in a little bit later on this morning. But as always, thanks for watching. Good luck in this early contest. You're going to need it. We're all going to need it for this early contest, and we'll see you in the next one.